93% of surveyed businesses increased their visibility and control after upgrading to NetSuite. Over 28,000 businesses already use NetSuite. Head to netsuite.com/wolf for a special one-of-a-kind financing offer. That's netsuite.com/wolf, netsuite.com/wolf. Hey guys, JB here, the Wolf of Wall Street. First off, I want to wish everyone happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. Now listen, for this month's episode of the Wolf's Den, I thought it would be a good idea to have my team put together a recap of this year's very best moments. I'm talking about the best of the best. This year has been awesome, by the way. There's been a lot more planned for next year, and I can't wait to share all of that with you. We got great guests coming on for 2023. And just so you know, I just finished my new book, which will be coming out in the summer of 2023. So that's why I've been kind of scarce online a bit, right? But the new book is actually a textbook, really, like I'm handing to you on a silver platter how to maximize your wealth by making money in the stock market. I show you exactly what to buy, when to buy it, how long you should hold it. And I'm talking to you literally the insider's playbook of how the real pros, how the best of the best make their money. So this book will be out in, I believe it's June or July, coming in 2023. But again, I want you to, everyone to have an amazing Christmas and Hanukkah, happy holidays, right? Watch through these clips. This is all the best of the best stuff. Believe me, you're going to really enjoy it. And again, I will see you in 2023 for an exciting new year. Take care. God bless. Was there a certain post that you made that sort of started, or like something that just was like so over the top, or that just struck a chord and you got just a massive response and that started the chain? Was there any one post?
I don't know. There was definitely some posts that were standouts, but I think really the biggest one, it's funny, man. The negative publicity does you more favors than the positive stuff a lot of times, especially when you're coming up. It's like you fucking, you save 500 whales, nobody gives a fuck. You kill one on accident, and it's like worldwide news. Well, I didn't kill any whales, but I threw a porn star off the fucking roof. And it was during a photo shoot, and it was because they asked me to do it. But like the way the news framed it, it's like I'm just on my roof throwing bitches off like it's something to do, And so it's like Dan Bilzerian's throwing porn stars off his roof. Like it's just like raining hose over here, So I think the way they framed it, and then like, Dan Bilzerian gets arrested at LAX on federal bomb making charges. It's just like all this like really crazy stuff that like when you looked at like what actually happened, it wasn't that crazy, but because of the way the media framed it, generated a lot of fucking hysteria. And that, that kind of got my name out there. And I was like, look, I was one of the early like pioneers on Instagram. I remember, for a long time I had more followers than The Rock, and so that was just like kind of a,
right. I know, absolutely.
That means if it's 10% inflation, your $500 is now worth 10% less. You now have $450. And then if you're like, oh, well, now I can't buy something. But it's one of these weird things where suddenly, like even here
it's
now,
the
Florida.
Ultimate regressive tax, by the way.
It
is.
It's
the ultimate regressive tax, inflation, because it hits everyone the same way. But people, in other words, that are poor, feel it so much more than people who are rich. And it's really, that's the sad part of it all. And when I look at Biden, like you can directly, it's almost like, it's like a direct line to the policies that he had. And, I think also in line with that, with the Federal Reserve, I guess in some level, they're in a tough spot because, the deficit is so big. They have to keep interest rates down because if rates go up too much, how do they service the debt? It's a tough position. But Biden, it just seems like, it's almost like, did you ever get the feeling like they're trying to destroy the country?
So it's a feature, not a bug, right? So if it was a bug, it would be like, oh, they're trying to do something good, but they're just incompetent.
Right.
But it's like, no, you guys can't ruin so many things all the time with big government policies that ruin absolutely everything, that keep people in poverty in the name of lifting people out of poverty, that tax people, that crushes the economy, that locks people in their home, that the depression.
The energy independence, taking away for just, like, it was a shocking move to go from energy independence to energy dependence, watching fuel prices shoot up, ultimate regressive tax on every poor family, and it's just not being the main narrative out there. It's like, it's really weird to me,
psilocybin mushrooms, what's incredible, I think those are going to replace all the antidepressants. Because when I do them, which I've been doing twice a week for quite some time, on what it is even for trading, you know, I know we're talking about trading, but when I do the microdose, the day I do it, I have, you know, a little more energy, a little bit more joy. It's sub-perceptual, so it's not something where I'm tripping or something, but I just have a little bit more energy and not quite as affected by some of the other stuff going on. But the days in between, my clarity is there. I'm making good decisions. And I had this experience with the spirit of ayahuasca kind of saying to me, like, it basically spoke to me at that point. Right. It was this moment where the spirit said, do you know how you're breathing right now? And I was like, no. And it said, do you know how you're growing your hair? You're doing it, but do you know how? And I was like, no. And it said, what makes you think I need your help? And I was like, shit, that's so true. I go, I don't even know how I'm breathing. If I don't do that for 2 minutes, I die. Like, why am I going to get all upset because these people aren't listening to me? And it's like, I don't even know how I'm breathing. And ever since then, I walked out of that jungle and I was just like, fuck it. You know, this is a miracle. And I think that these psychedelics, they connect you back to the fact that you're in a miracle right now.
So it's an evolution. So
you move comfortably in this world of celebrity.
That for me was the most comfortable. The next thing was like, how am I going to do it?
Right.
I have no idea because once again, Kelly Osbourne, Nicole Richie, like these people,
right? Wealthy families, wealthy, but not
famous
just wealthy, father,
famous,
right.
super famous, and you know, so then and the show didn't even start, Kelly's show. So I meet her, we hang out. 2 weeks later, the Osbournes premieres. Then we can't walk down the street, and I'm like, this is unbelievable. This is a whole new world of TV. You have to be an actor, you don't have to be a musician. There's a chance, and then a little bit, it opened up to people that had personalities, reality TV. And like, it wasn't just celebrities. And now I'm like, all right, I got to do this show. I got to do so. You know, I was doing PR and I woke up miserable, depressed one day. And I'm just like, I got to be on TV. I don't want to do PR. I don't care. I love this. So Simon, who was my business partner at the time, who worked for me then, he's like, I'm going to call Buna Murray and I'm going to get us an appointment and blah, blah, blah. Buna Murray's a production company that's done, you know, every show in the world. They were doing Simple Life. They did the Lohans, a Real World, every show. So he's like, I'm going to call him. Of course, left a message. No one would ever call back. Just a random solicited call. And ironically, 2 weeks later, I go to a birthday party and I end up sitting next to Kim. And their show didn't even start yet. And I'm like, you know, I told her, I made up a story. I said, hey, you know, I was good friends with Benny Medina, who was J-Lo. I said, Benny Medina wants to do this show with me, a PR show. I said, I'd rather do it with you. And she's like, well, I'll call Ryan Seacrest and Buna Murray and, you know, I'll tell them about it. I said, I want to do a PR show. I want to make it fun. I want to make celebrity. I want to, you know, because I knew I needed celebrity angle still.
Right.
Because first of all, girls are reality TV stars more. So as a guy, I'm like, all right, and without a famous family, I need to get the celebrity kind of show. So I was like, great, we'll do product and we'll have celebrities and we'll make it Hollywood and we'll make it fun and this and this and this. A week later, Kim calls me. He's like, hey, they want to meet you. And I'm like, oh, can you come to Beverly Hills Hotel, meet with a guy named Jeff Jenkins at Buna Murray? And I'm like, great. And I come and I pitch the show. And I remember, I think like Nancy Reagan was sitting behind us at the Polo. I'm like, this is fucking insane. I love this. This is the Hollywood. She was sitting with like Betsy Bloomingdale, who's got had a diamond ring the size of my watch. I've never seen a ring like this. And I'm like, this is Hollywood royalty. This is a day that's meant to be. So I told Jeff. 3 hours later, we went to meet John Murray, who was Buna Murray, and they loved it. And they gave us $50,000, which is unreal because usually you do a little 10-minute sizzle. We did a full-on pilot. They paid for a full pilot. We did this humongous like thing at STK with this jean company, red carpet. It was Halloween, and it was like all the Hills and all those people back in the day came, and it was like the most amazing pilot. We went, and then this took forever, and then just went to E, and they're like, we love it. Let's do an on-air pilot. So we did another thing with Mel B and at Sugar Factory, and then we finally got the show greenlit. And then I had my own PR show, and that was it. So I got myself on TV, which is, you know, someone randomly from New Jersey, and another thing that's almost impossible.
2000, 2008, 2020. Listen, when it comes to the economy, those are some pretty scary years. .com crash, housing crash, and the roller coaster we're going through right now. One thing is certain. It's a dangerous time to not know your numbers. But over 31,000 businesses have the confidence and the clarity they need because they rely on NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud financial system. NetSuite gives you visibility and control over your financials, inventory, HR, planning, and budgeting so you can manage risk, get reliable forecasts, and improve margins. Everything you need all in one place. So, how do you prepare for uncertain times? The answer, NetSuite. NetSuite helps you identify rising costs, automate your business processes, and easily see where to save money. That's why 93% of customers say they improved their visibility and their control when they upgraded to NetSuite. What are you waiting for? Right now, NetSuite is offering a one-of-a-kind flexible finance program. Head to netsuite.com/wolf right now. That's netsuite.com/wolf. That's netsuite.com/wolf.
Okay, and then you do that and you win, and everyone's like, all right, I've arrived, I've accomplished my life's goal. If you're a bodybuilder, I'm sure that's everyone's goal as a bodybuilder. And then you do it 7 fucking times in a row, which means like you just had this ability to keep getting yourself to do things you probably didn't often feel like doing, but you knew you had to do to get what you wanted. I think that's a huge element of success, getting yourself to do the things you know you have to do, even when you don't enjoy doing them. And obviously you've perfected that for a sustained period. How do you do that?
Well, knowing who the hell you are right away and understanding that when you dream about certain things, you have to see it before you actually do it. So like for me, it was always visualization of how I wanted to look, and then trying to figure out what is the strategy, what is my why, and then understanding that it comes down to routine, figuring out my actions that lead into those habits, that leads into a better character, that leads into creating positive results, right? So knowing initially, wow, my habits were really shitty. Wasn't really aware of that. I needed to eat every 2 to 3 hours. I was still finishing up. I played 4 years of college basketball, but I graduated in 5. So during that 5th year is when I started bodybuilding. I didn't understand how to use time management for that, because going to the gym was easy. It was the eating part, and then studying, and then still trying to have somewhat of a social life, trying to find balance with that. You know, overall, I just realized there was going to be a lot of sacrifices, and I needed to create certain routines and rituals that could never be broken. That meant a lot of time away from friends, family, but it was all worth it because I kept telling myself the results are coming. But it was a lot of failing forward, no question about it. It was definitely not something that I knew right away. I thought that I could just eat a bunch of protein and don't drink, and you're going to get shredded. It's like, yeah, but for the common person, yeah, that'll work. But when you're trying to be a top level amateur going pro, it's much, much beyond that. So for me, it was always about small victories, creating good systems, strategy, protocols.
That are barking nonsense at people like Dogecoin to the moon or whatever it might be, or this NFT project or this great new altcoin, or buy Bitcoin because it's going to $1 million tomorrow and the dollar is going to disappear, or, you know, buy this meme stock or this option, or here's the list. And they're all nonsensical bullshit artists. And then you have some amazing ones in there, diamonds in the rough, needles in the haystack. And then you have some diamonds that are in writing, in books. But the problem is they're so fucking boring and so tedious to read that no one will read them except a few select people who then, if they act on that advice, will get wealthy, get rich. And I think that's the disconnect I see, which is why I'm writing this book. And the reason it's taking so long is because I know that if I don't write the book in a wolf-like way where I'm making people laugh out loud and I'm telling a story and the lessons are infused into the story, no one's going to read it, right? So I think that's a big issue. What do you think about that?
So much noise these days, like you said. There's so much noise. And again, the internet loves attention first. It's an attention economy. So again, if you don't get their attention via The Suit or a crazy movie about a career on Wall Street for you, then the message isn't going to get there anyway. So you have to get their attention first. And unfortunately, there's just a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of nonsense. There's a lot of opinions. There's a lot of, crypto shillers that create YouTube channels. And then it's hard to really know what's going on. And that's why I've tried to dial it back now in my academy. I went back to the lessons I learned on Wall Street with like daily P&Ls, disciplined trades, stop loss orders, long-term perspectives, things that nobody really talks about in the crypto world because it's moons and it's like the NFT play, but no one really sticks to those old school fundamentals. I used to sit next to proprietary traders that had made it through all the crises, right? The Asian crisis, the Russian crisis, the mortgage crisis, this crisis. They almost had like these scars on their face and they knew what to do. And they would look at me and say, put your stop in, Brian. The trend is your friend. I've seen it all. And those were the ones that taught me. So yeah, I think we need to get this knowledge back to kind of, I say the younger folks, because most of crypto is a younger generation, but not go so old school because we saw Buffett and Munger last week just slating all things crypto. And it was just sad to see. But these guys built their world in a fiat system. If all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So why would they be interested in crypto? But I don't like to see that. I wish you could take some of their investing lessons and apply it to what's a very volatile but upcoming market. Maybe that's why we're here, Jordan, to bridge that gap.
Part of downtown, right between Brickell and Wynwood, we own 4 blocks, basically, right over there.
And this is obviously the land right around 11, including we own the land. Michael and I have the land at 11 sits on. And I've been down there since 2003 assembling land. And the neighborhood, nobody understands the neighborhood better than Michael and I. And we knew there was everything going on. There's like the biggest Apple store in the country's coming there. There's 300,000 square feet of retail about to open up. The Paramount was very successful. There's towers galore. This neighborhood's going to be the neighborhood in Miami, probably the most successful neighborhood in the country for sure, and the most vibrant. So we said, hey, the time's right. The name's blowing up. We know how to obviously market well. So we put a deal together with PMG, and we went and we started marketing our first tower, which is beautiful, iconic tower. It's a condo hotel. So you could buy a condo there and you could go on our hotel program and rent it out, which about 90 some odd % of the people are going to end up doing. And we went on sale and do our marketing and our relentlessness. We sold out in record time. And we sold out basically in a couple of months. We were 70% there. And then the word just got out and we very quickly sold out.
So critical decisions that we made there was to build a luxurious product. People in downtown Miami that aren't, directly on the water there, probably would have gone high-end product. But we went like extremely high-end, great finish, Avrico interior design, Seeger Suarez. We have a Deepak Chopra 20,000-foot spa. We have 4 restaurants. We have 4 nightlife venues. This is like a cosmopolitan in the middle of Miami.
City to itself, almost. Like.
And it was expensive over there. But people were thirsty for entertainment, for connections with people, to get an extension of this 11 experience that they had in a hotel environment, in a life thing. So I think the critical decisions there were to do a condo hotel, to partner with great operators inside of it, and to go high end on the product also. I think for those reasons, we didn't have a sales center either at the time. We were building out a sales center, and we sold
out before the sales center got built. Right?
Yes, same with Tower 2. We sold Tower 2 out with no sales center. Matter of fact,
our sales center is ready now. If anyone wants to have a party or something, we have a sales center.
So the problem with social media is that no one posts the vulnerable side or the things that you fail at, or the money that you lost, or the relationships you lost. So that vulnerability, I think, is going to happen more and more. And then
I'm going to stop posting that shit, by the way. I'm going to make my account
I need to.
Negative fucking shit that's going on in my life. Like, you watch me, I'm
exactly.
I'm writing a book. What do I do all day? I'm fucking bored and miserable. That's my fucking post.
So that's one of my goals, is to become more vulnerable on social media, because people think that our life is perfect. They see me and my wife, they travel, the kids, the this and that. Like, we're traveling almost every month, but people don't really know who we are.
Right.
The several celebrities, the athletes, and the actors.
Yeah.
Were the only famous people.
Right.
How else were you famous?
Right.
You were on a commercial. So now anybody, Joe Schmo off the street, can go on TikTok and go like this, without saying a word, become a multimillionaire.
Is that good? Is that good or bad? I will say. Here's my question. So is that a good thing? I think it's, listen, anything anything that makes people money, I think if it's not hurting someone else, I don't think that's a bad thing. I can't see that's bad that someone makes money for doing that. I just wonder if, like, on the celebrity side, in other words, that people, what annoys the shit out of me, I gotta say, is that people who are famous for doing nothing.
Dumb shit.
And or like that's it.
So they have no. Okay,
well,
so
I don't know.
yeah,
Like,
they have no skills.
Doing dumb shit extraordinarily well is actually really smart. Like Jackass. Those guys are fucking smart. They're not idiots. Yeah. Those guys, like, they're actually professional idiots. Like, they're doing idiotic stuff professionally. And that means you're really smart.
Jackass 4.5.
Like, you could say, oh, Kim Kardashian's an idiot because she's fucking brilliant. She actually, a professional, made her life interesting for people to watch.
Her horny self made her famous.
Right, exactly. So you have to give someone credit. I'm talking about something like where like the dancing stuff and like where it's really kind of really low. Like, there's no skill involved. There's nothing special. And then people, I think it speaks to a part of human nature that's not the brightest part of human nature. I think it's a part of human nature that sort of is not overly inspiring. And I think it's more like this voyeuristic side that we have. Yeah. It's not our best self. It's my own opinion. This disaster starts. The big firms themselves start lending each other money and cross-collateralizing, all to make fees. They have these sort of esoteric products they create where they essentially make derivatives of derivatives and so forth, right? So you see firms like a Celsius, one of the biggest firms out there, that's offering 20% interest. How the fuck are they doing that? How are they offering 20% interest? Well, obviously, because they were getting more than 20%, right? But in the real world of finance, that doesn't exist. That's not sustainable. If you go back in history, there is no way to make more than that. You just can't. So something was going on. Was it a Ponzi scheme? Were they going out and lending even higher rates of interest to other people? Whatever was happening, the point is when the market starts to drop, so everyone loses money in the beginning, now you have the secondary effect, which is all the large firms that were playing the leverage game start to go bankrupt. And that's been happening each day. It started originally, by the way, what was the big disaster, right? We had Celsius, right? The first one, though, was Terra, right? So Terra drops, Luna, right? The so-called unstable stable coin. That drops, $50 billion is lost. Well, okay, fair enough. A lot of people lost money. Some funds lost money. But unfortunately, institutions that were essentially the kind of the benchmarks of the crypto world, they lost huge sums of money. And they were lending to each other on leverage, right? So what's happening as they fold, you start seeing it's this forced liquidations. They come on the market in the same way, right? And now you have the secondary contagion, this effect that's happening right now. And the market's getting battered and battered. Even long after the individual investors kind of out of the game, like, all right, it sucks. Everyone's lost their money. It kind of sucks. We're down 70%, right? You're saying, who the fuck is still selling? Well, now you have institutions that got caught with their pants down, and they're in this much bigger game of liquidations that could take months because there's lawsuits involved, there's trustees involved, there's secret behind the scenes deals where people are trying to buy other people and everyone's trying to stop the contagion. My experience with this, once it starts, it is very difficult to stop until it reaches bottom. My question to you is, okay, so obviously you love cryptocurrency, right? There are some very smart people who hate cryptocurrency. I like cryptocurrency, although I think it's wrought with fraud, and it desperately needs some regulation to stop the fraudsters in there. But
everything's wrought with fraud.
Yeah, that's true. But what happens is, in the absence of regulation, it gets so fucked up.
Regulation doesn't help. Regulation
does help a little bit. It does help somewhat.
No, it doesn't. Payday loans are legal. It's literally 1,000% of your interest.
I'll tell you what it does. It stops Celsius. It stops.
No,
it does. It's dramatic.
No, they got a pass and turned off their regular retail customers and just took accredited investors and burnt them, and it was legal.
So it was legal. If you think that, listen, I know both worlds.
Wall Street is not as bad as crypto, and Wall Street's as corrupt as shit. Okay, like Wall Street's is a sewer of corruption, and crypto's a sewer of corruption times 1,000. There's no disclosure in crypto. That's the problem.
Disclosure is a scam. Disclosure is a fucking scam.
How is that?
You know 100% that no one reads those fucking documents. You know 100% that no one really gives a shit about those disclosures. You know 100% that when you tell someone they could lose everything, they don't really fucking believe you. You would have to spend 50 minutes showing them videos of people crying, having lost it all, for them to have a chance of actually being like, oh, this might actually go down.
So you think disclosure should
no, I think that disclosures are weak, limp dick legalese that doesn't actually save fucking nobody. I think that Enron had disclosures out the ass and lost everybody's money. I think Theranos had disclosures and lost everybody's money and were authorized by everybody. I think that Bernie Madoff was the fucking CEO of NASDAQ and stole everyone's fucking money. So no, I don't think that disclosures helps anybody. It's just like, oh, you knew it was risky. We told you it was risky. You lost all your money. But look, we have a disclosure. I think that's bullshit.
Considering history, what would you think if you were to advise, let's say you're advising a 25-year-old, right? Say, what's the best possible investment? If you, let's say you've got $10,000 to invest, right? And you plan, you want to invest for the long term, and you have every month or so, you might have a few $100s you want to invest. What would you tell them to buy? What do you think the best long-term investments are? Is it
I would just stocks? I would just say the S&P 500. But I'm not in this for investing, right? Like, if you want to,
so you know something about Wall Street.
If you want to make 8 or 10% per year, fantastic. But again, if you have a few $1,000s to your name,
but you're right. That is by far the best investment.
100%.
All right. Why do you think it's the best? Do you know why it's the best investment?
Well, I mean, it's the most steady, right? So for me, that is like if you want to invest, but I'm not an investor. If I have a few $1,000s to my name, I don't want to just make 8 or 10% per year. I want to go for something bigger. So that's why penny stocks or crypto, I have nothing against crypto. I just want people not to like hodl and believe in this stuff. I want them to take profits along the way.
I have a course, right? But I never sold a business development course. I was like a skills course. Hey, learn to sell, and I teach people to sell.
Correct.
I never said, I'm going to show you how to teach other people to sell.
Right.
Like that's the variation where it gets fucked up, right? It's like you biz op, and I never did that. So why is it though that people just want fucking hope? Is that what it is? They want hope. They rather believe the bullshit.
They don't believe in themselves enough that they need to hear it, and they want to pay someone to hear it. And the funny part is, most of them are already in fucking debt. So now they're putting themselves in a deeper debt to now learn to do something which is not even promised or guaranteed.